The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus is the first Lincoln, or Ford for that matter, imported to the US from China, where it's made and also sold. It's an all-new Nautilus, and despite the fact that there's a special 25% tariff on vehicles imported from China, this starts at just over $52,000, which is right there with the competition. That includes the Cadillac XT5, the Lexus RX, and the Genesis GV80. Lincoln is offering this in 3 trim levels. There's Premier, which somehow is the entry-level model, Reserve, and the Black Label you see here. All comes standard with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder rate at 250 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. But for $1,500 more, you can get any of them with a hybrid powertrain based around that engine that's rated at 310 horsepower. But also increases the fuel economy from 24 miles per gallon combined to 30 miles per gallon combined. All in, a loaded Black Label is going to run you about $80,000, but it is very much loaded. Chinese vehicles are famous for prioritizing rear seat comfort, and this one is no exception. On my 6'1" scooch test, where I see how I can fit behind myself with the front seat set for me, I wouldn't even know what to do with more legroom than this. It's absolutely spacious back here. The front seat passengers are going to be jealous. And there's plenty of room for your luggage in the cargo area as well. And room isn't the only thing you get a lot of in this vehicle. I'm using the widescreen camera so you can see the wide screen of the Lincoln Digital Experience, which is 48 inches across, although it is split into 2 screens down the middle. You have a digital instrument cluster here, built-in Google Maps there, and 3 configurable screens over there that you could set up to show the media, the clock, the trip, or change them to put the weather or tire pressure there instead. Lincoln can update that with new widgets in the future, but that's what you get for now. And you don't have to reach up there to do anything. You get this touchscreen here to control the infotainment system, which is supplemented by a few buttons, a giant volume knob, and these piano-style gear selection keys, which take a lot of getting used to. So there's no head-up display because the screen is up so high, and as a result, you get this flat top and flat bottom steering wheel, which some people call Quartic, to help improve the view there and clear your legs down here. Unlike with some funky dashboard designs, I have been able to find a spot where the steering wheel works perfectly for me, and you still get your 10 and 2, your 9 and 3, although I do find myself holding like this a lot, and like this, and even sometimes diagonally. I'm not sure that I do that with a regular round wheel. It's nothing wrong with it, it's just a little different. The infotainment system has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone integration, Alexa, and Google, which lets you download apps. And when you're stationary, you can even use it to watch videos or browse the web. Some very good content available there. These ambient light elements are neat. You can change the colors, and they change to red when you open the door for safety. And for when you stink it up at the gym, the Nautilus has an air freshening system with a selection of fragrances stored in cartridges loaded into the center armrest. Now, I'm typically a skeptic of big screens in cars. I prefer analog gauges, but this one isn't bothering me at all. At worst, it's unobtrusive, and at best, it's actually pretty helpful, especially when you're using a feature like the hands-free Blue Cruise that's available and standard on the Black Label, which needs to transmit a lot of information to you about how it's operating. And as far as how well that does operate, still not as good as the General Motors Super Cruise system. Just deactivates too much, but Lincoln is updating it and will update the software as it improves. I have not driven the regular turbo, but this hybrid is very nicely matched to this vehicle, which does not aim to be a sporty car. It is a luxury car. The Black Label comes with a computer-controlled adaptive suspension that can firm and soften the shocks, but really just goes between plush and bouncy. But that's the vibe Lincoln is going for these days. Its idea of luxury is that you just don't have to think about it. It's got enough power, it's got enough comfort, it's quiet, you're good. Now, as far as the Chinese build quality is concerned, which I'm sure you are concerned about, it's spectacular. As with every vehicle made in China I've driven over the past couple of years, this is pretty much perfect. You might not like the design, but as far as the way it's put together, I like to say there are no nails sticking out. Can't vouch for long-term reliability, but when you're talking that initial quality thing, it has it. In fact, I'm going to go out on a very strong limb and say that this is among the best Lincolns ever. Aside from really the Navigator, I think the last new Lincoln that came out that impressed me this much was the MKT. That was over a decade ago. I've driven this a couple of hundred miles while I've been testing it and would be more than happy to drive it a couple hundred more. One other high-tech oddity on this car is that you don't adjust the vents. You have to go on this screen to do that. Just point where you want them to go. Tesla's got that, Rivian's got that. It's sort of a new thing. This also has some crazy power seats. You can adjust several zones in the back, the leg bolsters, the side bolsters. The leg supports are individual and they'll give you a massage. The map screen is only for the built-in map, and if you use one of the ones on your phone, that turns black, but it does double as a 360-degree camera display. This might not have the panache of an old Lincoln Continental or Mark, but it's definitely the same kind of car, which in the old days some people called a dinner jacket car. It's what you want to drive when you're going out feeling good, not a care in the world.